And that's what I'm waiting. I just want the corkscrew to come out.
Oh, one day they'll pull out the corkscrew Frostcomb, but for now we get the nail clippers as we head into Champions Select for game number 3 between Team WE as well as Vici. This time around it's Lissandra, Vladimir, as well as Gangplank that gets banned out by Team WE. Hang on.
Whoa, where is he?
Where's Twitch? Because Gangplank's banned out, LeBlanc's gone, Shen's gone, Twitch is up and available. Okay.
Uh-oh. Sneaky, sneaky. Alistair is the priority pick. I actually like this. So Team WE, we talked about how Mystic is moving or was used as a denial pick last game. You know, picking up that gen. It's not a champion that he looked very comfortable on. It's not something he's known for. So I like the fact that Team WE, you know, screw it. Vici are going to do their game. We're going to do our game. We're not going to bother, you know, taking away or denying them. We're just going to play our best champions. We'll give you your best champions, and we'll see who wins out.
Seems like, and it seems like Team WE, they value the Gragas ban over the Twitch ban heading into this match. It's good to see that heading into best of 5 series. Even from the last split we saw between Snake and Aime, that teams are adapting their pick and ban phase based on the outcome of the previous matches.
It's the fun thing about tournament brackets is that you kind of have a mini meta that... Hello? Are you okay over there?
I'm fine.
That forms within the best of 5 series itself and the tournament bracket. Fish is losing his mind.
I don't see the Twitch. The Twitch is banned out here. Where is the pick of Twitch? Vici, they're probably not going to even pick it up here.
They just won on Ashe. They don't need to go for that Twitch, but it's an option. It's an arsenal. It's the corkscrew. I killed him. They're now looking at Karma. Hour 8.
We're still waiting to see what Vici are going to be picking up as their first 2 champions here today. First up, it still seems like they're going to be picking up the Karma here, which is not even going to be a flex pick. Shown straight away to be the pick going into mid lane for Easy. He's playing this twice now in the mid lane, and they'll have Brom as the pick of choice going over towards Caveman.
And, you know, we questioned Easy Hoon's champion pool earlier in their series against Game Talents. You know, we called it shallow in terms of his effective champion pool, and it seems like Karma's kind of been his last bastion of hope when he doesn't have that Lissandra available. Rise, of course, being not patched out, but certainly kind of a question mark with his changes on 6.15, and Azir hitting the back burner.
He has been playing well on the champion so far. I mean, a few LPL mid laners did pick it up. I think Punish was one of the first few. He picked it up to try and take it against Vladimir's in the mid lane when Vladimir was a very popular mid lane pick. Wayless brought it back, one of his unique champions he's brought back into his champion pool.
I mean, she has great wave control, she has great wave clear, good mobility, great CC on her kit, she's a great utility option, she's effectively the new Lulu. So you remember all those days when Lulu was picked every single game?
Yep.
Hello, new Lulu.
Yep, sounds like Easy Hoon's champion because that's all he picked during the spring split. As Talia does get locked in as a mid lane pick of choice coming over for Sia again, and Siva will be their AD carry of choice heading into this match.
So again, Shea really prioritizing that wave control.
That's an instant lock-in of Rek'Sai. Danny picks it up, and we will get the Twitch coming in for Shen P. So they get the hyper carry, and they're ready to take it on to Summoner's Rift.
But again, they knew that the Twitch was going to come out. Mystic very comfortable in the matchup, picks up his Sivir, so it's Team WE still saying, we'll give you all of the champions that you like to play. You know, Dandy's on the Rek'Sai, Easy Hoon got his Karma, Xuan P's on the Twitch. It doesn't matter because we picked up the Sivir.
Still waiting to see what Team W are going to be picking up as their last 2 picks coming into Champion Select here. Vici on the other side of the map, they're holding their last pick for the top lane, so Lung will have a counter pick into whatever 957 decides to bring up to the top side of the map.
Looks like it's going to be that Aurelia would certainly make sense. Again, if you have a hyper carry, it's still a low damage composition across the board for Vici. If you can get the Aurelia fed ahead of the clock, get her into that backline, there goes all of Vici's damage.
So it seems like 957 will be picking up Aurelia into the top lane. He has played this champion a few times during the summer split of the LPL. Picks it up for special occasions. It seems like game number 3 against Vici is going to be one of those occasions. And Elise will be locked in as the jungler of choice for Condi.
This is a very different speed of Team WE and the composition. We talked about in the first series between Snake and Aime, how it was really about having that superior 2v2 because 6.15, you're not going to look for a lane swap, so you need to have that strong top jungle synergy.
Long immediately responds with a Poppy being picked up.
And there's very few things stronger than the Aurelia and Elise duo combo.
It certainly isn't. And he also has the Talia in the mid lane to try and compensate for the lack of teleport coming in from the mid lane of a little bit of a semi-global map pressure. This time around, though, it's still going to be easier in picking up Karma. We've already seen this lane once. That was in the first match tonight between Team WE and Vici. Long picks up the Poppy. It's his most played champion this season. So we'll have to see how he uses it effectively against 957 in the top side of the map. Does have Dandy on Rek'Sai for this game.
And Dandy's Rek'Sai is simply a joy to watch against Cerebral Jungler. So when you give him all of the tools like the Tremor Sense, like the semi-global presence with his Void Rush, he does a lot of damage.
But again, elephant in the room is Shen P picking up Twitch, the hyper carry that was banned out against him in that second match. Let's see how he uses it as Team WE take to the Rift to take on Vici in game number 3. We're back onto Summoner's Rift for game number 3 between Team W and Vici. The series has been tied up here for Oscar, and it's been 2 very long, drawn-out games, which we really expect from Vici and Team W because they like to be very controlled. They like to, control the chaos that is in the LPL at the moment.
I have a feeling we're going to get quite a different speed and look from Team WE, though. Again, game number 2, they really tried to deny a lot of power from Vici. I don't think it was worth it. I think you just empower what you're good at because you hit Vici exactly where they're weak, which is in those 5v5s. Great to see Mystic return to the Sivir.
And they've definitely got a game plan going into this match because they picked up Irelia, Elise, very strong early game champions. Talia, very strong, very, very early as well. And they did let the Twitch go through pick and ban, so it seems like they have something up their sleeve going into this third match.
Well, it's very clear that they have so much backline threat. Not only do you have the ability for Aurelia to just fly back there with the Blade Surge, as well as the repel reach from Elise, but then you also have the ricochet bounce from Sivir. The beauty about Sivir is that she compensates for her low range simply because she can hit the tank in front of her and crit the backline.
And once again, we'll see both these teams start on the bottom side of the map, so we will see the AD carries and supports take away a camp at level 1. Those lane swaps coming in 6.15. We did see
a delayed invade.
Coming up previously from our previous set, but the turret fortification currently a little bit too strong for teams to lane swap into.
So now the question will be, we know that both teams will look towards those 5v5s, will look towards the obvious item breakpoints on their AD carries as kind of the big go buttons late game. But with the Aurelia and with the Elise, as well as the pushing power of Talia, Team WE are in a very strong position that they can make early game pressure plays. They have a lot of kill pressure and a lot of control to 1v1 on pretty much any matchup that they want. Do they execute on it, or do they continue to sit back?
And that's a big change coming out from that last game, because it seemed like Vici were the ones that were controlling most of the lanes. Mid lane was incredibly far ahead, and they just tanked the damage that they got in the top lane and the bottom lane before they found their footing in the match and clawed it back that way. This time around, we've seen this match before between Easy Hoon and Sia. It's fairly even. The Talia does shove out nice and early, but we do have Condi making a very early move to the top side of the map.
And this is what we were talking about, that stronger 2v2. If there's any trend that we've started to see from this initial series on 6.15 in the LPL, it's this.
Meanwhile, bottom side of the map, Zero forced to flash away. You can already see how strong Shen P is on this switch, getting lots of damage down early, and Dandy is still waiting in the wings to get a gank off in this bottom lane.
And here he goes.
Looking for Mystic. Mystic gets jumped on. There's a flash knocker. Both Zero and as well as Mystic get locked down. And first blood goes over to Shen P.
And I'm ready to call it. This is the difference between Endless and Xuan P. Xuan is a carry. He will step forward, he will make the plays, and he has certainly stepped up for Vici to give them an edge in their playoff run.
He certainly has. MVP performance on Ashe in that last match, now picking up Twitch, something that Vici has been banned out against Shen. We expected the Kog'Maw ban against Endless and always a Twitch ban against Shen. But the Gragas was too valuable for Team WE not to take away, and they're being punished for it at the moment.
I think it simply means that Vici prioritized the Kog'Maw. You know, you start with Endless, you see if they're going to ban it away. If that seems to be their focus, then you immediately swap him out, take Xuan and mix up your bottom lane.
You can already see what his idea is heading back into the lane. He's picked up
Triple longsword.
Triple longsword going back into the lane. Very powerful. Whereas Mystic, he's picked up a cull for himself. He wants to sit back, he wants to farm, he wants to heal up. It's going to be a very difficult lane for him here on out, as Shen still has both his summoner spells up and available as well.
Big thing is that means Vici will have complete control of the bottom side of the map, which means that Dandy can really get in there and cause havoc.
Certainly can. Top side of the map though, 957 is now being pushed in by Long. We have seen Poppy return to the LPL since her slight buffs that she got in the recent patches. As that's a lot of damage on towards Easy Hoon.
Unfortunately, doesn't connect with his Q.
Yep, the rock throws do not connect, but still, we've seen a lot of Taliyah players start of the split, start of her release, not do as well, but now since they got comfortable with it, have been doing incredibly well. Shen tries to go toe-to-toe there, but he's got a big minion wave that he has to fight up against.
Mystic and Zero are only being so overzealous because they have that big creep wave, but you have to remember that neither of them has flash, so they need to play this very carefully.
There goes Zero, does get the headbutt in towards K-Burn, who puts up the shield. Shen does take a boomerang to the face.
Condi.
Elise looking to try and get into the bottom lane. Shen is being locked down. He will get taken down there. Zero gets the kill though, unfortunately for Team WE, but they still get the gank off in the bottom lane.
Yep, Son of Baron to the rescue to help reset a lot of that pressure. And for once, Dandy's actually not in the perfect position.
That means this game is tied up once again. Shen was being aggressive down in the bottom lane, has gone back to base, picked up the serrated Dirk for himself, but a little bit more breathing room, you could say, for the Sivir pick of Mystic. And he is a fairly strong Sivir. If he doesn't get his Ezreal, his most common go-to champion is that Sivir pick.
And it goes back to what Team WE prioritize. And it's not just the 5v5, but it's the tools that allows them to reach that 5v5 so consistently, which is wave clear. Wave clear and mobility. And this composition, where it lacked in game 2, they have it in spades. Taliyah and Sivir will be able to stall out any sort of lead or deficit that Vici create in the first 20 minutes.
Almost feels like, you know, they're overcompensating. Like, okay, guys, what did we lose by last game? Yeah, we didn't have wave clear when we went into that match. Sure, let's go Sivir, Taliyah. We're all good here. Throwing the Aurelia ultimate as well. You can see already Condi trying to make a return trip down into the bottom lane. Gets a couple of pink wards down in the river. Making sure they can deny vision, also jump into the bottom lane if he needs to. Top side of the map, Lung has gone back to base. Used his teleport to get back up there. And is already training very aggressively against 957, who's still sitting on Oni's Corrupting Potion.
Here comes Dandy, though, so underneath, picking up free camps. We'll see if he maybe transitions into a gank on the top lane. There is a deep... a defensive ward behind 957 to check for this. Sorry,
957. Sorry, Condi does move up towards Dandy, who is still counter jungling. But he will lose all of his jungle to start things off. Blue buff does spawn. Condi will be able to pick that one up at least. But Dandy does get 2 nice cans for himself before leaving Condi's jungle. Bottom side of the map, still the exact same thing here. Shen losing a little bit of his power, which is to be expected after the gank did come out from Condi in the bottom lane. It was unfortunate that Zero did pick up the kill, but still the cull as well as the extra longsword and boots means that Mystic can do what Sivers do best, which is just push the wave in and make the opponent play against the minion wave instead.
Yep, you don't lane against Sivir, you lane against her minions. But... you know, we talked about earlier in the night kind of the different viewpoints of LPL teams on Twitch in particular as a pick. EDG say that Twitch is a great pick because teams will try to counter him because he loses the lane, that they'll try to camp him and it opens up so much potential for counter ganks. Makes sense because they have an incredibly strong jungler in Clearlove, whereas Imp on the other spectrum likes to pick Twitch because he just thinks he counters everything. That there's nothing you can do for the enemy AD carry to be set up in a 5v5 and Twitch just ambushes and pops up next to you and destroys you.
Well, Shen likes to pick Twitch because he likes Twitch.
Yeah, he's just a Twitch man.
He certainly is, and his breakout game on Twitch for Vici was phenomenal. And that's when they started to bring him in as a substitute for their second matches. And they're still doing it here. And even the best of 5 series, Endless plays game 1, and Shen Shenpi seems like he's playing the rest of the matches for his team.
I wonder if it's like a warm-up period. Again, I still think it's kind of a testing ground. You know, Coach Holmes starts Endless, and he's like, are you going to ban the Kog'Maw? You're not. Okay, play Kog'Maw. You're probably going to ban it now. Put in the Twitch main.
Well, here comes Shen Shenpi trying to go aggressive on towards Mystic, but a good knock-up combo comes out from Zero, allowing Sivir to put some good damage back down in return. Dandy is creeping in towards this bottom lane. Condi is nowhere close, so Mystic and Zero do have to be a little bit careful if they do overstep their boundaries. But Shen Shenpi takes his time to head back to base, because Mystic and Zero have healed up quite nicely. Lots of sustain comes out from the outside, as well as Sivir, since she does have the Cole as well as the Duran's Blade.
Yep, and Condi's work of evening out that lane has certainly paid off, because Mystic and Zero looking in a much better shape, although this is a 2v2 mid.
They're looking for the gank here. Dandy is going to be jumping straight on top of Sia. Condi actually gets locked down by Easy Hoon instead, though, so split focus coming out from Vici's mid laner as well as the jungler. Flash being burnt by Danny, Ghost being burnt by Sia.
But still, everything fairly quiet in terms of amounting to any kills. A lot of action, but just slight missed execution or good counter reflex.
Meanwhile, we checked in with the top side of the map just then. 957 doing incredibly well on this Aurelia. It's about 20 CS up already ahead of Long. Long went back to base, picked up the Balmy Cinder for himself. 957 building towards the Trinity Force as his first item. Dandy trying to make his way around the backside of this jungle. Will try to creep over towards the lane, but does get spotted out. 957 has to be careful here. But the pressure from the Elise does make sure that Rek'Sai has to go back to the lane.
And now Dandy's presence here is simply to reset this wave and make sure that 957 can't get a freeze with Condi in tow.
And does do exactly that. 957 going to be trying to freeze up the wave here, but it's a teleport coming into the top side of the map. Very aggressive coming out from Vici. Does eventually get cancelled from Easy Hoon. Shen Shenpi in the bottom lane looking to try and go the jump onto Zero, who just headbutts a minion and gets back to safety. But still, aggressive move from Vici doesn't pay off.
Oh, it was also in response to the fact that Xie was moving on Talia, looking for the Weaver's Wall up into the top side, which now means that there is a discrepancy between the global presence of these teams. So we'll see if Xie will execute on that, or if it's going to be the classic Team WE where they just sit back, buckle up, and continue to farm.
I'll tell you which one is actually going to happen here, Frostgrin. We've seen it so far in these two matches, but teleports are back up and available for both Long, and 957s will be up soon. Weaver's Ball, like you mentioned, is available for Sia, so there's potential for him to use this ultimate, because we did see Team WE use it very proactively to get back into the game when they were very far behind in that first match.
Although it's going to be very hard for Xie to get down there unnoticed, because check out the litter of wards that Dandy has left in his wake. That red side jungle for Team WE is lit up like a Christmas tree.
It certainly is, as Shen Shenpi does get jumped on. Dandy is down in this bottom lane, though, looking to try and get some damage on towards Zero. Exhaust used onto the Twitch. Takes a full boomerang blade to the face. Now the teleport's coming to bottom lane for 957. Eventually gets cancelled. Zero, incredibly low. The poison shouldn't be enough damage to take him down, but it diffused the situation in the bottom lane with Condi as well as the cancelled teleport from 957.
And now there's another discrepancy between global presence, the fact that Long can respond, which means that Vici can go aggressive on the bottom side of the map.
He certainly can, and Easy Hoon's making his way down. Dandy already wrapped around Mystic and Condi. Cocoon's going to miss, and they have their own teleport from the Poppy coming down as well. Zero has to go back in, but he's incredibly low. There's Poppy on top of Mystic, not going to get the damage down that he needs. Easy Hoon even trying to do what he can as Talia even slowly rotates down to the bottom side of the map. Not going to be able to assist his team, but still, Vici don't get a pick for their troubles.
And nothing comes from it. And again, Team WE have so much wave clear built up on their composition that they're not able, or Vici can't continue to push anything of it. They can't turn this into chip damage because the Sivir's still there. Talia made the roam. And more importantly, in the top side, 957 has had so much solo experience and solo time with these waves and with that tower.
And he's slowly chipping away the turret, slowly see if he can get that first structure gold up on the top side of the map. He also cancelled his teleport earlier, which means that teleport's going to be back off of cooldown much faster. And Lung's just went on full cooldown because he channeled it completely heading into the bottom lane. So, map advantage, again, going in Team W's favor, not only because they're the Weaver's Wall now, but also because teleport will be up shortly for 957.
This game has quite a bit different tempo, which we knew it would since we had picks like the Aurelia, like the Elise, but it feels more like a rally than kind of a slow jog.
Certainly
We're just
does.
back and forth.
It's got different tempo, but the same feel of the games that we expected from Team WE and Vici. They up the tempo in their own way. I mean, if you expect someone like EDG to up the tempo, that's a 15-minute game. If you expect Vici and TWE to up the tempo, 25 minutes 30 still and counting, but definitely a lot faster pace between the two teams. They're very respectful of each other's global presence.
This is cute.
Dandy tries to rotate around them, around the turret, just gets spotted out by the Talia. As Mystic is still pushing this wave in quite aggressively here. It's mainly been the reason why Danny has shown so much presence down here, just because it's such an easy lane to gank when he's shoved up so far. But that's a flash forward. They're looking for a fight. Caveman gets delivered into his team. There's Easy Hoon into the back lines. Mystic has been locked down by the concussive blows. Shen P gets that first kill. Zero now the next target. He will fall down. Condi too little too late getting into the bottom lane, which means Vici pick on this lane once again.
And they finally are able to execute and take something off of it. Will it be the dragon in the tower in tow?
Easy here, and that's a flash away. The seismic shove coming out from Sia does a ton of damage on towards the mid laner of Team WE.
Vici really speeding up the course of this game, though, so looking for another dominant and impressive early game. Dandy caught out.
Weaver's wall doesn't actually go all the way through. Seismic shove does deal a lot of damage. Caveman uses the leap a little bit too early. Danny didn't quite get over the wall just yet. He will live to tell the tale, but still, Team WE have brought everyone down into this bottom lane. Danny forced away from this dragon, and it could be an objective being picked up by Team WE.
It'll certainly be a buff trade, so Dandy leaves with the red buff, but Xie gets the prize, Condi gets the prize of taking away that blue buff and then moving down into the Ocean Dragon.
It's still 957. He teleported down to the bottom side of the map, didn't do anything at all, so he has to walk the walk of shame back to the top lane turret to try and defend it against the Poppy.
And there have been so much attention paid to this bottom lane, so it seems that EDG were right in their assessment of Twitch. They like to pick it up because they know that it forces action and a pressure point on the map. They just rely on their jungler to be stronger.
Danny has definitely stepped up to the plate here today. Both junglers, 0-0-2. So assisting their team equally, but Shen P has been a huge benefactor of all this pressure that's been shoved down into the bottom lane. He is, however, falling incredibly far behind in terms of CS. He's 40 CS behind Mystic. The only thing that's really compensating for that is the 2 kills he picked up from all the pressure.
Likewise, a very similar scenario is happening in the top side of the map. We've been checking in on 957 and long CS discrepancies. Aurelia is kind of a 150 champion. She hits that point, she gets to be Aurelia no matter what, and it's because she gets that item that she has in her back pocket now, which is the Trinity Force.
And she's looking for her Merc Threads next to snack up with her passive. 957 going to be a very difficult champion to deal with, because the Aurelia is getting fairly large at the moment. Top lane turret's being pushed down, though, by Long at the moment, trying to actually zone 957 away from getting towards this minion wave. Dandy is waiting in the wings, so 957 does have to be a little bit careful, and here comes Easy Hoon as well. Vici want this first structure goal, as in the meanwhile, it's going to be Elisa gets jumped on here by Shen Champi as well as Caveman, forced to repel to the Scuttle Crab, and there's the first structure being fallen as Vici pick up the first structure gold.
In response, Team WE are trying to amass a counterplay in front towards that bottom tower, but again, too little too late to pick up the first blood on the tower, and I feel like 6.15 is kind of an inherent nerf to the way that Team WE like to play the game. They have one of the latest first tower takes of any team, especially top teams in the LPL.
Really feels like it as well, as Vici kind of fits their playstyle. They get the top lane, top side of the map really isolated. Top lane doesn't go into a 2-on-1. Mid lane is going into the 1-on-1 match. Dandy's free to help these 2 lanes as well. And the 2-on-2 now that Vici is getting a lot stronger since they brought Shen P in, also seems like it's going in their favor since it's forced into the standard lanes.
Big thing too is as these outer towers fall down, it opens up more space, which means there's more assassination potential. We are running pretty much double teleport compositions, even though Xie is just using his Weaver's Wall to compensate for it. But the more open space, and with that Ghost Blade completed, the more threat that P has on the map, and the more response Team W will have to front.
Speaking of Sia, he's been doing a good job so far of shoving in Easy Hoon. He's slightly ahead in terms of CS, but we've seen this match before. Easy Hoon just shoves back in, but it's very different from when we saw Easy Hoon use the Karma up against the Kassadin that Sia whipped out earlier in that second match.
Again, Team WE pivoted really well on their weaknesses in game to, not having that wave clear, losing these lackluster 1v1 trades, prioritizing denial in their draft phase as opposed to just strengthening what they're naturally good at.
As again, junglers making their way down towards the bottom side of the map. Dandy's still top side, but Condi is looking to make a big pressure point on the bottom lane. Chen doesn't have a turret available, so he's going to have to be farming safely as close to the mid lane in a turret as possible. Easy Hoon, now the next target that Team WE are looking to try and pressure.
You know that they're there. There's no other play that they have available on the map.
As Dandy's moving towards the top side of the map, but so is Sierra just to pick up his blue buff. So if they start a play now, it could go south because the Weaver's Wall is available. He dashes in and out, just taking down minions for now. Rek'Sai is spotted leaving the top side of the map, though.
It's one of those scenarios where you're calling up to 957 and just saying, look delicious.
That was a nice interaction between 957 and Lung. Puts up the W, so he can't dash in for the cannon creep, so just uses the ultimate. That's fine. I'll farm up the wave anyway, boys. Mystic's back down into the bottom lane. He has been farming up at Storm. He's still 40 CS ahead of Shen P on Twitch, who has yet to pick up his Runan's Hurricane, which should be his next item pickup. Mystic does have that Essence Reaver, so starting nice and strong. We'll have the Zeal soon to get the extra cooldown reduction to assist his team.
Xie just rudely contesting Dandy's Raptors at every possible chance.
And you saw this last time he picked up the champion as well. His second game on Taliyah, they didn't play it at all during the regular split of the LPL, and they picked it up twice already in this best of 5 series.
She's really been hit and miss throughout the LPL. Rookie has been the primary proponent of picking up Taliyah. To not a lot of success, but I think that's more indicative of him being on Invictus Gaming rather than Taliyah's inherent strength.
And Taliyah has been played a lot more, I'm not sure what the word is, I would say more clinical, has been played a lot more towards perfection recently. When she was first released, teams didn't quite really know how to use her.
She also has, or she's had some adjustments on the recent patches where they've really cleaned up the interaction. So if you were, it's a slight nerf if you were already really good at Taliyah, able to weave all of the spells effectively, hit your skill shots. But by making the skill shots, the W and E interactions in particular, easier and smoother, they did nerf a bit of her damage to kind of take her back in line. So if you're kind of the average Taliyah player, you got better.
Well, Sia's getting jumped on here, has to flash away, but it's now being turned around because Zero gets a big pulverize to lock down both Easy Hoon and Shen P. Teleport being used by Long to get into this middle lane. Vici have to back off, and they try to use the Twitch, but a good flash from Sia and good reaction gets him to safety.
And a ton of summoner spells and cooldowns pretty much wasted there.
Yep.
It is going to be Team WE with superior positioning on this mid tower, although they're still dealing with the collective wave clear of that Karma and Rek'Sai.
And they're still trying to push through here. Dandy doesn't take any damage at all from that cocoon as the shield comes out from Easy Hoon, keeps him nice and healthy. Big, important objective though, because Dragon is up. Taliyah went back to base and is able to heal up to full health. Does have the Weaver's Wall available if she needs to use it. And now CWE trying to get as much vision control as possible. Winter's Bite connects onto Zero. Does get tagged up by the Q coming out from Karma. Now Dandy looking to try and get into the back lines. 957 does get locked down by the Braum. There's the Weaver's Wall. Locks in 3 members of Vici with 5 of Team WE. Lung getting combo. Dandy has to flash away. So does the Poppy. Pops the ultimate. The helicopter knocks the Taliyah out of the team fight. But still, great Weaver's Wall means that Vici have to back away from this objective.
And that's the 5v5 execution that we expect from Team WE. So took a bit of a break in game number 2, but came back to life in game 3 and now looking for more.
Dandy has to try and get over this wall. Successfully does so. Does get locked down for a little bit, but still 2 Ocean Dragons being picked up by Team WE. A team with so much wave clear can just sustain themselves if they want to just keep sieging against Vici.
Exactly. They did have the initial inside track there on that mid tower, but are unable to continue to snowball objective control. This is a much cleaner early game from Team WE.
It certainly is, and they're looking a lot stronger heading into this match. Vici, even though it's a 1-1 at the moment for Oscar, in the first match, they were incredibly far ahead to start things off. It was one team from Team WE around this point in the game that pulled it back. Second match, same story, but Vici just continued that snowball effect. This match, however, Team WE fighting Vici very early onto the game and making sure that they're not on the back foot as they head towards the 35-minute mark that they're very famous for.
And again, it's Team WE just identifying what the blueprint and what the identity is for this specific matchup. It's wave clear and it's Mystic on either Ezreal or Sivir. You don't need to adjust a thing until Vici really want to force you off of it.
We can check from the items that these two players have picked up. Mystic has completed his Phantom Dancer, so we'll have the complete cooldown reduction from his Essence Reaver that was picked up previously. Shen P still sitting on the Yoma's Ghostblade as well as the Runan's Hurricane. So big power spike for Twitch, but not as huge as the one that Sivir gets at this stage in the game.
And now we're just really waiting for that last Infinity Edge. Again, most Sivir players throughout the LPL have moved into the I-Edge Rush versus the Essence Reaver build, but this is typically because they're able to get the early snowball anyway. Because Mystic was put so far behind due to the first blood in the bottom, he had to itemize into Essence Reaver.
Certainly did. And still will give him good cooldown reduction to help out the rest of his team, especially with that on the hunt, which is already on a very short cooldown reduction for cooldown, I should say, for Oscarin. And it's Vici looking to try and get a flanking play off on towards this mid lane, very deep into Team WE's territory.
They could find 957 though, but someone will need to respond towards the top side.
Weaver's Wall comes out, 957 just runs straight past Long. Dandy gives chase with the Poppy.
He just needs to stall time, because if they continue to chase him, it would give the all clear for Team WE to either turn on the Baron or just push through and try to siege an inner.
But still, they take down the top lane outer turret for free. Weaver's Wall cuts off Vici from trying to take down the mid lane outer turret. Seismic Shove does not connect on Easy Hoon. Good side step comes out for him, but it does get stunned up by 957. He's dead! Obliterated by Mystic at the start of this team fight. Now it's Caveman and Dandy trying to defend their mid lane outer turret, but Team WE just brute force their way through Vici. Get a pick as well as the mid lane outer.
And we said that this was going to be a different tempo game coming out from Team WE. You could see it reflected in their champion select, and we're getting pretty much just that. At 25 minutes, they're 10 minutes early to the punch, and they just took 2 towers for free.
In the past minute, they've already taken down 3 turrets. They get a pick as well, and they've just outplayed Vici across the map. Well played to Team WE. They're now 3,000 gold in the lead, and it's only 25 minutes in this match.
And again, Vici plays so well when they're ahead, but they cannot play from behind. They don't have the superstar talent throughout their roster, although they do have assassination and pick potential, and that's what they're really going to rely on. So yes, Dandy and Easyhoon, they kind of set the standard and the bar of expectations for Vici, but all eyes really need to be on Xuan P. He's the guy that needs to step up here.
But again, like we said in Champions League, it really feels like Team WE know that this assassination potential is coming in from the Twitch because they let it through willingly in the draft phase. They've changed up the way they would normally draft for this game with Twitch in it. We've seen every single time Xuan makes his way to the mid lane, they have a reactive play to try and shut him down and blow his summoners for trying to be the assassin. Now he's still trying to farm up his next item, does have his BF sword available. And on the flip side, Mystic is 1 component away from the Infinity Edge on Sivir.
That 14-25 rush. Who will get there first? Because that's going to be the next big breaking point when these teams go nuts.
It certainly is. And Rans talked about this quite a lot last night. You know, Sivir, once she gets 6 items, that's a win condition on its own because it's such a powerful champion.
See, I'm going to shorten it just slightly. I agree with Raz. I think Coach just has said it as well, that the 500 CS Sivir is definitely a win condition in any game that she's in. But I think it's 3 items, really.
Once Mystic gets that Infinity Edge, it's going to be incredibly difficult for Vici to deal with him. Especially with all the threats.
It's 3 items as long as you're on clock. If you're behind clock, then you also need the added penetration from a Last Whisper.
Well, they're on clock right now. Team WE definitely doing really well early into the game. And they're still looking to try and increase that lead. Once again, the Baron dance has been started between Vici and Team WE. Xuan P goes invisible, is looking to see if he can get an assassination. Now Caveman going in. Condi, the first target. Concussive blows does not land. Lung, he's incredibly low. What are you doing, buddy? As the first player from Vici gets taken down, and the frontliner at that, Weaver's Wall, just locks everyone in there with Team WE. Xuan P gets Seismic shoved back. Zero's gone in. His Alistar has been on point this entire series as he gets a big knock-up. Double kill comes out for Condi, and the only man left alive is Dandy. He puts his head between his tails and runs straight back to his base.
Full speed ahead. This is why Team WE came into the playoff gauntlet free-seeded into the quarterfinals, because they were the second-place team.
And they're pushing on towards the Nexus turrets here for Oscar and looking to try and take 1 down at least. 957's tanking it up. Dandy now getting locked down, gets stunned up, gets taken down. Ace will come out from Team WE. This could potentially be it. They're looking for the Nexus here. Team WE finishing a game before 35 minutes. I do not believe this, Ross Curran, but they're able to take down Vici at 28 minutes in this game and pick up the Game 2 victory in this best-of-5 series.
We said we could smell something fishy in the draft phase, you know, picking up the Aurelia, taking a very aggressive jungler in the Elise pick, and they sped this game up.
They certainly did, and you know, they banned out Twitch in game number 2. Shen Shepi picked up the Ash, had a phenomenal performance, MVP performance for Vici. They let it through in game 3, like, sure, we can deal with this pick, and now Vici, they have to be worried because it's match point. And Team WE are looking strong to try and make it into the next plays of this gauntlet run. And Vici, something just disappeared because even in the game they lost in this best of 5 series to start things off, they were ahead all the way to 22 minutes in the game. It was just a different story in this third match.
Again, this is the 2nd place in Group B versus the 4th place in Group B. Vici coming in and barely scraping by with their playoff spot, and there's a reason why. Team WE, I like the fact that they changed it up. They said, give them what they're good at because we know we're better anyway. We've proved this all split, and we're going to prove it again in a best of 5.
And these two teams fought against one another recently. Vici had their final match of their group stages against Team WE and picked up a victory. Now it's just flipped on its head. Team WE looks so much stronger.
But the difference there is the last time that Vici picked up the 2-0 over Team WE, that match meant nothing to Team WE. They didn't have to win there. They just kind of sat back, rested on the laurels, didn't show anything, held their cards very close to their chest, and now have come out very explosive in Game 3 of this set.
And one play that really stands out for me from Team WE is going to be Zero on that Alice. I said it in the first few games as well, but he has been playing phenomenally. Win or lose for Team WE, he has been a fantastic support throughout this entire best of 5 series so far.
Zero is probably the most underrated support player in the LPL. People often forget about him just because he's flanked across from greats like Mako, like Mata in that position. And he's been here since the beginning. You know, people always think about the Korean migration as being when Dandy, when Easyhoon came over. But Zero and Insec were the first, Korean exchange students, if you will, to join the LPL. And Zero has really stepped up. He deserved to be in that final of the 2014 World Championship. And today he's reminding everyone how he got there.
Exactly that. And he's a big reason why Mystic's been able to pick up as many MVP performances as he has for Team WE so far. And off of the back of that game, Team WE are now at match point and looking to try and take another match, to try and take it on against EDG in a couple of days' time. But we'll find out if Vici can fight back in just a bit.